Okay, so we're going to create a Unity project where you can put a character in the scene and have them collect objects, but also have their health reduced by running into enemy objects. So we're going to go through the basics in this short tutorial. So the first thing that you will need to do is create a ground or a ground plane. So go to Game Object, 3D Object, Plane, and you'll see it come up here in the hierarchy. So that's how we'll start. The next thing you'll do is go to Assets, and you want to import a package which I've already put together for this particular lesson. So you go to Assets, Import Package, Custom Package, and find the package I put together. You'll see that you want everything ticked. Import. And it will appear here. So you can see that if I drag this out, you've got third person controller folder, and inside that are the character assets that we need and also the scripts that we'll be using. So in this tutorial, I'm using a character called Xbot, and this has just been downloaded from Mixamo. So feel free to swap in different characters or animations later on. But for now, we'll use this one. So if you just drag her into the hierarchy like so, she'll appear in the scene view. And if we hit play, you'll see that not much happens yet. So the first thing that we'll do is we will add a character controller script. So we just add the character controller like so. And the next thing that we want to do is start looking at how to animate her. Now, here within the character folder, you've got an idle animation and a running animation. You can later on you can add any animation that you wish, but these are the ones that we're going to use today. So we want our character to either be standing still, or when we push down on the keyboard, she'll run forward. So to add these animations to the character, if you open up like so, you'll see that this icon here represents the animation. So first thing we'll do is just get her idling. So if you drag the animation onto Xbot like this, you'll see that an animator controller is automatically created, and this is what we'll be looking at now. So if you double click on this animator controller, you'll see something that looks like this, and it's a visual way to see how the animation is working. So we've got an entry state which is going forward to the idle animation. And actually for this tutorial I'm just going to drag this down here to make it easier. So if we hit play, let's see what happens. You'll see that she's idling but has sort of appeared above the floor level. So let's have a look at why that's happening. Okay, so the reason for that is this green cage is not actually aligned to the character. So what we'll do is we will just move that upwards a little bit. So if you go to character controller and then maybe just move that up about 1 on the y-axis, and then that's nicely fitted around our character. So when we hit play, she should be on the floor in an idle state. And you can see here, if you click on the animator view, that it's just playing through the idle animation, which is what we want to see. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back into our animator and we're going to drag in the run animation. So if we close that again, open up, but we can actually just drag the whole thing in like so, and we've got a running animation. But if we hit play, what you'll see is it's not going to the running animation because we haven't hooked that up yet. But what we could also look at is if we were to delete this idle animation, now you can see that the arrow is going to running. So when we hit play, she should be running on the spot. So what we'll do, we'll drag the idle animation back in, and we want this to be the first state that we go to. We wouldn't run before standing still. So to do that, if you right click on the idle animation and go to set as layer default state, you'll see it will go back to idle. Now what we want to do is right click idle and click make transition and drag that to running, and then from running we want to right click make transition and make that go to idle. Now if the left hand of the animator, you'll see something which looks like this, and if you hit this plus, sorry, that's a layer. If we go to parameters and we hit the plus, you'll see integer. So that's what you want to select. You want to create a new integer, and we're going to call this condition. And that means that now if we click these transition states, the arrows like so, you'll see on the right side we can start to change those in this window, the inspector. So click on idle to running, and under conditions, which we've just created here, click plus, and if the condition is equal or equals 1, it's going to go to running. And then on this one, add a new condition. If the condition is not equal to 1, it will go back to idle, which basically means if we push down on the key, it will go to running, and if we let go, it will go to idle. And while you're in this menu, just make sure that you switch off has exit time on both of those transitions. Okay, so now if we hit play, we'll find that she's still idling. And that's because although we have the animator controller in place, we don't yet have a script which sort of makes it work. So what we'll do now is we'll add a script to our character. So if you select export, what you need to do is go into the scripts folder that came in with your package and pull the player controller script down into the inspector, like so. And now, if you hit play, if you use your keyboard, WASD, you'll see that you can actually move the character around.